From Night to Night by Genevieve E. Caldwell. Prologue. Evalena's story. My mother, Evalena Beaver Caldwell, was born in a sod house in Sioux Indian Country, Aurora County, South Dakota. She only went as far as third grade in school. What follows is her own story of how she came to know the Baha'i faith. On a particular evening, with my 3 baby girls asleep, I was daydreaming over the dishes when I was startled by a knock at the door. Into the kitchen came my very excited neighbor, clutching the evening paper. "Oh, Evalena," she cried, "you must come with me this evening." She opened the paper and read, "New Divine Revelation, meeting place in the Placer Hotel, 8 p.m., admission free." "Oh, for heaven's sake, what next?" I thought to myself, but replied, "I really can't. The girls are asleep, and I don't have a babysitter." "That's all right," she answered. "My eldest girl will look after them." "Well, you know, I'm a Catholic, and it's against my religion to go to this kind of meeting without permission from the priest." "Oh, come on," she insisted. "Just because someone is teaching about God doesn't mean you can't listen. And besides, Matt won't be home from work until midnight, and it might be exciting. Please say you'll come." So, in spite of myself, and only to please my persistent neighbor, I decided to humor her. Even now, how can I sufficiently thank God for his guidance? I stand thunderstruck to contemplate what my life would have been had I not gone. How often does one's life stand at such a crossroads? Only my concern for my neighbor's happiness brought me to the ocean of life. The meeting was held in one of those anonymous hotel rooms, dingy in the extreme. As I found out later, the Baha'i speaker was visiting all the capital cities in the United States under the direction of Shoghi Effendi. Praise be to God that at this moment of my life I was in Helena, Montana. My friend and I were the only 2 in attendance. At the door we almost turned back. How can I ever describe that meeting? The woman speaker at first appeared very nondescript, but received us with a love and tenderness I had not experienced before. When she began to speak, that hotel room surpassed royal palaces, and her voice was that of a pure angel. My soul was set afire that night. Time stopped for me, and like a person who had been left aimless and adrift in the desert, I began to drink from the heavenly spring of the true water of life. What vistas of light she opened before my eyes! When it was time to go, she gave us each a kiss, assured us of her prayers, and gave both of us cards listing the 10 principles of the Baha'i faith. Now our roles were reversed. I was so excited I wanted to shout to the world these new glad tidings, while my friend, nonplussed at my response, said, "What a quaint little old lady! Strangeness upon strangeness! Surely the words, 'He guideth whomsoever he willeth,' had never been more true." I waited up that night for Matt. I had never known such happiness as filled my heart. I am sure that when my husband finally did come home, he must have thought I had lost my mind. For at first all I could say was, "You should have seen her. You should have heard her." Finally, I was able to explain that a new messenger of God had appeared on earth, and these were his teachings. When I handed Matt the little card of 10 principles, what keen spiritual insight my husband had. Upon reading those principles, his first words were, "It's about time." Then both he and I, drawing only upon the fleeting words of that angel of light, sat down together and penned our dedication of faith, requesting more teachings of Baha'u'llah, our newly found beloved. Praise and glory be to God, who hears the prayers of the least of his servants, and is prone to answer. On the 7th of Kalimat, 82 Bahá'í Era, 7 August 1926, God fulfilled the innermost yearning of our hearts and sent us our longed-for baby boy. Matt and I had deepened in our beloved faith, and our greatest wish and highest aspiration was that this newborn gift of God would one day arise and champion the cause of Baha'u'llah. At that time, we also had the added bounty of having as a visitor in the United States that great but humble Persian teacher, Janabi Fazl-i Mazandarani. My husband begged Mr. Fazl to bestow his name upon our new son. With complete and pure humility, Janabi Fazl was disinclined to do this. As the day for naming ceremony drew near, my persistent husband continually pestered his guest, reminding him that the Americans were destined to become the spiritual descendants of the Dawnbreakers. And wasn't this same Janabi Fazl one whose lameness was attributed to the bastinado, so cruelly administered as to permanently cripple both feet? Wasn't he considered one of the greatest Western teachers by both Abdu'l-Baha and Shoghi Effendi? What great bounty, Matt reasoned, to have a son follow in the footsteps of so great a blessed one. Finally, this pure soul asked my husband if he wouldn't be content to name his son Janabi Esselmat. Matt and I were both overjoyed with this selection, and, being ignorant of the Persian language, did not realize that this humble teacher had merely added the child His Eminence Esselmat. Only that pure soul and God know the prayers he uttered as he held our tiny newborn babe in his hands. When I shared my mother's story with the hand of the cause Amatul Baha Rihuya Khanum, she thought that the woman who gave my mother the Baha'i message could have been Martha Root. In 1923, Martha Root went across America by train and stopped at all the capital cities en route. Helena is the capital of Montana. Mother did not remember the lady's name, but the time was right. Both my mother and father, until the end of their earthly lives, remained staunch and fervent supporters of the cause of Baha'u'llah, being the first Baha'i couple enrolled in the state of Montana. The account is fragmentary, and I cannot vouch for its complete accuracy, as Mother has passed on, and I cannot verify it all. From hand of the cause Mr. Kadem, I learned that my namesake, Janabi Fazl, had no family that accepted the cause he championed so vigorously. I pray God that one day both he and Dr. Esselmat, in the realm of glory, will be enabled to accept me with pride as their true son. Please God that I can be worthy.